What's up, everybody? Francis Ford Coppola's new movie Megalopolis is out, and we gotta dive into it. This will be my spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie yet, my non-spoiler review is available for you, but you've been warned, so let's get into the movie. Kicking things off here, I've only got one negative really for the movie as I enjoyed it pretty much all throughout, and even this is like a half negative as you see a little bit later when I get to the pros section. Anyway, there were a couple cast members who, either didn't want to be there or didn't get the roles to live up to their stature, and Natalie Emmanuel was the first one who seemed to get more comfortable with her role and in this world as the movie went on. She's kind of an outlier here, but it was a rough start for her, and she kind of drags the movie down just a bit in that first half, or the first act rather, before her character Julia steps it up. Then she finishes strong for the rest, so she kind of balances out. Another one who just didn't fit into the movie though was Jason Schwartzman. Although it kind of came across like on his side, maybe he didn't care all that much about being there, at least to me. Then the one who I thought didn't fit this story was Lawrence Fishburne, but like his physical form, unfortunately, as I felt he should have just been the narrator of this movie because, again, his physical presence wasn't really felt, at least to me, throughout this movie, and not to mention his narrations were just better than everybody else. But that's all I've got to complain about for Megalopolis, so let's dive into my pros section. Kicking this section off is going to be a couple of the themes that hit hard in the theater. The first is that the trend is not destiny, and that was on display throughout the movie as Coppola tries to warn against making the same mistakes society has made in the past. Then there was a part of love being the greatest power, which connected to the chase for power and approval, which multiple characters suffer from, but it leads to I almost said wonderful. I'd rather say intriguing moment at the end. Then there's the cast outside of those I already mentioned, but even they weren't bad enough to like ruin the movie or anything. Just kind of felt out of place as this cast was crazy stacked. Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, John Voight, and Catherine Hunter all did their things, but Aubrey Plaza was damn good in her role as Wild Platinum, which awesome name there too, as it feels like the role was maybe kind of written for her in this draft of the movie, and I think the same could almost be said for Shia LaBeouf too, who, despite my hatred for him for some of his actions over the past couple of years, he stole this movie. I mean, he was legit incredible and had me and my theater dying on multiple occasions, so I don't wanna overstep, I know, he went on the podcast with John Bernthal, and it seems like he's really, trying to be a better person, and, you gotta also separate the art from the artist. This was flat out an incredible performance. As far as the story was concerned, I thought the execution was just good, but the concept is fascinating, and that makes up for the execution not being great. At least it did for me, and again, it was still good. I think it's, coming at the right time here, but it's also going to require people, and I'm not going to go too deep on this. I hate politics, but it's going to require people to put their personal feelings towards them aside, which it's probably impossible for the sides who need to hear it the most. That leads us into our final point here to get away from that, as I absolutely loved the setting of this movie in a futuristic New York, with Madison Square Gardens being a modern coliseum, which was so damn cool. The moving statues were also incredible, but Megalopolis, it was an intriguing concept of I guess kind of what a future could look like with unrealized materials, because that's what Adam Driver's character makes all of this from, because it has Jetsons or just, your typical futuristic vibes, but the mixing of that modernized Roman elements really pushed it to the next level, in my opinion. Alright, really quick before we get into my spoilers section, I wanted to thank you guys for stopping by the Nerdverse. I'd appreciate it greatly if you subscribe to the channel to show your support in the freest and easiest way possible. Now let's get back to the video. So I've got 4 things that I kept from my non-spoiler review. All would have been pros, but I just didn't want to spoil anything. First is Caesar doing everything just to impress his mom, which I did mention just not specifically, and Claudio does the same with his father, who ends up killing him, but both sides hit hard for me. As far as the Caesar one is concerned, though, I think it works so well because they don't show it right away. He doesn't even have a great relationship with his mom or family for that matter, but by the end, he lights up when he sees her in the crowd at Megalopolis, and Driver did an incredible job portraying that. Second was the scene after Claudio ruins the event at MSG and Caesar's like in like the time lapse. I don't even know what to call it, but he's just taking a beating in like no time at all, and it was great. The effects were really cool on it, and like Driver was just amazing as he was throughout the rest of the movie. Third one here, it's an incredible scene that I wish could have lasted longer, but it was the one where Mayor Cicero, which was Giancarlo's best scene here, reveals his guilt to Caesar about his wife's death. I didn't put the lost kids thing together right away with this movie, but or with his original wife either, but it makes the assassination attempt all the more powerful, especially since it was a kid. Finally, while Platinum and Claudio's takeover attempt was so goddamn funny, but also like legitimately good. Aubrey Plaza and Shia Bluff were hilarious together, finding the perfect balance of psycho and like not even normal, but just like kinda turning the psycho down so their characters were normal in comparison. It was just great, and it was a great way to save money keeping Adam Driver's Caesar off screen while his face healed, which was so damn cool to have, like, an actual plot reason and a good one for that to save some money. And so that'll do it for my review of Megalopolis. It's a fun, fascinating adventure into 40 years of work from Francis Ford Coppola brought to life by an incredible cast. Let me know what you thought about the movie down in the comments below and make sure you have a great day.